So a new Halloween game was announced, and according to half the internet, it's dead on arrival. Is it maybe because it costs too much money? Is it maybe because the gameplay is antiquated in some way and not interesting? No, it's the pre-perception of the fact that it's not going to be the DBD killer, or that it's going to be a scam, or that the people co-publishing it are bad people, quote unquote. The important thing to realize is these are not things the developers of the game are pushing out as part of it. They're not launching the game by going, here's our new Halloween game, the DBD competitor / killer. No one is saying that. It just happens to be in the same genre. And then people have to put it in their little box. And then instead of being maybe I should just take the game for what it is. No, I have to put all of my biases and immediately throw them at the game and wish worse for the devs, which is kind of insane. I think the weird part about this is twofold. Firstly, most games are not novel ideas. They're typically in a genre that already exists. So when a new Souls game comes out or gets announced, Lies of P comes out, they're not trying to kill Dark Souls. That's such a stupid way to look at it. Even multiplayer games like Battlefield is not trying to kill Call of Duty. They exist in the same realm. And most people take it at that. There's elitists who are oh, you won't ever be this or you won't ever be that. But otherwise, most people are oh, this is more of the stuff I like, so maybe I should try it. But with the DBD community and some of the wider internet at large, it's just if it's anywhere near what Dead by Daylight is doing, they're obviously trying to kill Dead by Daylight. And all of their views of the game are going to be through that lens, instead of looking at it for what it is or at face value and dropping those stupid biases that really just don't make any sense. The second weird thing about this take is, oh, the gun developers have a bad track record. Brother, behavior has a bad track record. Dead by Daylight is clearly a flash in the pan. Lightning in a bottle. It's a very nasty thing to say, but it's true to say that all of their other ventures have basically been complete failures. And it's entirely possible that these developers had their failures already, and Halloween is their flash in the pan, And that's being optimistic, which I'm not even saying you have to be. I'm saying assuming it's dead on arrival is just as dumb. And as much as I don't want this to be a slam video or something, I feel like Scott Junn's take on it is the Reddit, Twitter, DBD sphere. It's emblematic of the entire thing. So I want to talk about some of the points he made on his recent video and just reflect on how valid or, non-valid I think it is. Obviously, these are his opinions and he's allowed to say and think whatever he wants. But I just think a lot of it comes from a really strange place of pessimism that is kind of unwarranted.
Hey guys, Scott here with some very exciting information. We finally have the announcement for the next DBD killer. Halloween is... I can't go on this joke longer. Obviously, this is not going to be DBD killer. Not even close. The development teams behind this game, it's absolutely doomed to fail.
Damn, bro's coming in hot. We're not even 30 seconds into the video, and the game's already doomed to fail. Okay.
So, we have the next project from the wonderful minds behind such amazing games as Predator Hunting Grounds, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Totally not abandoned games.
Keep in mind, Predator Hunting Grounds had an update about 48 hours ago, releasing new content, but all right.
This is not going to go well. The development teams between Ilphonic and Gun Media have terrible, terrible reputations, especially with this genre. Frankly, I don't know how the hell these guys keep getting licenses to games that die within a month. I don't understand how this is happening.
Again, like I just mentioned, Behavior has a terrible track record. It's surprising they are getting licenses. But if you just look at things realistically, instead of through some weird bias, it's money. Like, of course, it's just money. That's how any of these companies attain any license.
I also want to talk about Friday the 13th too, because I really believe, based on how I've seen Gunn act before, I really think that the excuse they have about the licensing is just that, an excuse. I think it was a wonderfully, perfectly timed excuse to where they could abandon the game and not get shit for abandoning the game and just blame it on the licensing.
The lawsuit around Friday the 13th's franchise is very real. Like, you could just look it up. So a conspiracy theory that it's based on nonsense and player numbers is kind of just, it's a weird take.
But the only other company involved there would be Ilphonic, and unfortunately, although they seem to have better intentions and they have not abandoned their games, they also just release games that die almost instantly. Killer Clowns from Outer Space and Predator Hunting Grounds have, anywhere from 20 to 90 players. They're effectively dead. You pretty much cannot play them anymore, and that happened very quickly too. So even if we didn't have Gun Media, they actually just suck as a company, even if we didn't have them, we still have two maybe more well-intentioned companies that are just unfortunately not very good at making games. So
a well-intentioned company who's not very good at making games. You don't say.
There is absolutely no chance that this game is actually going to succeed.
This is like another crazy absolute statement about something that hasn't happened yet. Like, you're totally allowed to be skeptical, but being so like, this will not succeed, it's definitely not going to succeed. That's such a stupid way to look at things.
Additionally, in all of their games, they have ways to like damage or hurt the killer, which every time an ASIM has this, it always fails. I actually firmly believe the ability to damage the killer in meaningful ways is the main determining factor of whether or not the game ends up dying. It is the only consistent thing in all of these where the game dies.
This is a pretty big leap of logic to make here, because correlation and causation, they're just not the same thing. You could pick any variable that's also in all these games and just be like, that's the one. Like, that's a big claim to make, that harming the killer is the reason these games die.
And just as an absolute slapper, kneecapper, it's on Unreal Engine 5 just to ensure it also runs like shit.
Scott is not wrong about this take with Unreal Engine 5. Like, it is an engine that has performance issues if it's not optimized well, but these games exist. He himself has glazed like Expedition 33, and that's an Unreal Engine 5 game. There's plenty of Unreal Engine 5 games that are fine. It's when they're unoptimized that there's going to be issues, but any engine is like that. It's also, unfortunately, it's a ubiquitous engine. I mean, there's tons of resources for it. People are familiar with it. It's easy to develop on. It just makes sense. This is just one of those industry things,
Obviously, this game is going to fail. Like, I don't even have to speculate about it based on the developers. They haven't made a successful thing yet in terms of a game lasting. So I don't know. This is obviously not the DBD killer.
Again, I'm going to reiterate. It's really crazy to say this when the main game you play is Dead by Daylight, where all of Behavior's other ventures have failed. And it's equally as likely that this is their flash in the pan versus their another failure, And these absolute statements just blow my mind. Like, you cannot see the future, bro. Is it fair to be skeptical? 100%. Being this pessimistic is nonsense. Also, again, with the DBD killer shit, like, nobody said it was a DBD competitor. Like, it's in the same genre. That's you. That's your bias, dude.
I really, really don't like Gun Media. I think, while Ilphonic is unfortunately just simply not good at making games, they're at least well-intentioned. Gun Media, they just fucking suck. I specifically dislike them as a company, and I wish bad things for their company. I don't think they deserve to succeed based on the way I've seen them treat their gaming communities, based on the way I've seen their PR people treat people on Reddit and social media. They are just shitty at their jobs, in my opinion. So I don't think they deserve any success whatsoever.
And I thought my opinions and comments about Behavior were pretty rough. I mean, this is a mean-spirited thing to say. You just wish failure for all these people at these development companies. Like, I don't personally agree with you on this take. I don't personally agree with you on a lot of your takes. I think Scott's interactions with people online are either very forward to rude on the way they lean. I wouldn't wish him any sort of like failure in life. That's crazy. That's shit you do when you're 14 years old. As an adult, you just don't do that shit. This take is not unique to Scott, though. This whole thing, this pessimistic outlook on these releases, it's all over the web. You could just find it anywhere. And it's totally valid to be skeptical for any number of reasons. But pessimism, it's so rampant in gaming as a whole. But it's just bad. It's bad for your gaming opinion. It's bad for your life opinion. It's bad for your life. If you're someone who's online, especially in the gaming space, you will see that sarcasm and pessimism is this like very common coping defensive mechanism that everyone uses. It's all over the place. It's like this rot that's like killing the internet, where people aren't willing to be sincere. They aren't willing to give things a chance because they get to be right if they're negative all the time. If you see this game coming out, the Halloween game, oh, well, this game's going to fail. So if they're right, they got a bad game that failed and they're not happy. If they're wrong, they look like a moron and they're not happy. Like, you lose either way. It's a lose-lose situation to be pessimistic. Now, being blindly optimistic has its problems too, but at least in that frame, you're mentally happy, or at least looking forward to things. Being realistic is honestly the best place you can be, but being pessimistic, it's got to be the worst, because you're just taking excitement out of your life, you're taking fun out of your life, you're taking joy out of your life because you want to be right, and you have this negative bias that everything is getting worse, which it truly isn't. It's like that meme they have online, you know? It's like, I'm cringe, but I'm free, which is, that's exactly it. Don't be the pessimistic asshole who is just upset about everything all the time. Enough of the psychology lesson. Let's talk about the game. It's single player and multiplayer. The single player aspect is you playing Michael Myers through the original movie from his perspective, which is cool. You're not running away from him. You're going to be playing as Michael Myers, which is like a unique twist, you know? You think about these single player horror games, stuff like Alien Isolation or the newer like Resident Evil remakes. You're being chased by something, but this time you're going to be the person chasing, which is cool. That's an interesting take. And in the multiplayer game, it's a 1v4 asim where you're not powering generators to try and get out of the map. You're in Haddonfield. The survivors are called heroes in this game, and you have to alert local townsfolk, the police. You're trying to get everyone to know that Michael Myers is coming, and you can even give them weapons and stuff like that to fight back. So you and the other players will have weapons and stuff to try and fight back and escape, but also you can equip the NPCs with weapons. So I could just imagine you just have, you know, an entire neighborhood of people with crowbars and screwdrivers and stuff trying to beat the hell out of this guy. I think it sounds like an interesting angle for the game to come at, and it should be a lot of fun. You know, I'm hoping. This is me being optimistic. You know, I could entirely be wrong. It's totally fair to be wary of the track record of these developers, even though IllFonic is the main developer and co-published by Gun. I think the most reasonable thing to do is to wait and see. Try the game. If the launch is, you know, nonsense, maybe don't try it. Play it. If it's fun, that's great. You know, and people are like, oh, well, it's only going to last 2 years. It's going to last. So if I buy a game and I play it for 6 months, that's pretty awesome. Like, most people who aren't full-time content creators, which I am very far from, most people have families, they have other responsibilities, they have a job. If I get some enjoyment out of a game I paid 20, 40, 60, whatever dollars for, and it lasts 6 months, that's pretty good. And one final note is, when it came to the reception, you know, I'm talking about the pessimistic side of things, There's a whole nother side of the internet that's extremely excited for this game. Horror fans, big Michael Myers people. There's some people in particular that Halloween is like their jam specifically. They're super excited about it, and I'm happy for them for sure. I just hate that you just see people online, they're retweeting the videos of the announcement, and it's like, I can't wait to play this, and people are just like, it's gonna fail, man, it's gonna fucking fail, dude. Like, shut up. That if I have one last message, like, if you think the game's gonna fail, you just shut up, dude. It's fine. Like, let these people be happy. What do you gain from like typing negative comments under people's, people are reacting on YouTube, and it's like, oh well, these people are gonna make a game that is bad. It's like, you don't know that, dude. You just truly don't know that. So give it a chance, or not, whatever. But let people have fun. I'm hoping closer to release, there's gonna be some sort of play test or a beta or something. I would love to try the game. I tried TCM and I thought it was really fun. I never really played much of the full game. Well, I installed it. I actually never launched it. But I had fun during the beta, and I'm not personally familiar with a lot of the challenges that game went through, but those challenges aren't guaranteed to be the same challenges this game will experience. So, you just gotta wait and see. That's all you could say. But me, I think the game looks fun, and I'm looking forward to it. Oh, and by the way, thank you so much for the support. My last video got way more views than I expected. I gained a ton of subscribers. I'm closing in on 250. I can't believe it. People left a lot of really kind messages, and I really do appreciate that. I love doing this shit. I love talking and just like getting my ideas out. It helps me like empty my brain a bit. So if there's anything you want me to talk about or a game to try or something, I'm so down to do it. If you want to hear my last rant that became surprisingly relevant extremely quickly, you can check it out right there. Oh yeah, like and subscribe. Do that shit too.